Let me tell you something that changed my life. You don't win the day during the day. You win it before it begins. Success doesn't show up at 2:00 p.m. in the middle of a meeting. It knocks long before the sun rises, and it only enters if you're awake to greet it. One of the greatest lessons I ever learned about success, productivity, and peace of mind came not from the morning routines of high performers, but from something far less talked about the night before. You see, most people wake up into chaos not because they're disorganized by nature, but because they're trying to win the day when the day has already begun. And by then, it's already too late. The game was set in motion the night before, the momentum was determined, the clarity decided, and the foundation either laid or left unattended. The people who seem to move through life with purpose, those who rise early with energy, those who check off their goals and dominate their days, they don't stumble into that kind of rhythm. They build it. And they build it the evening before. When you think about it, the night before is the architect's table. It's where you draft the blueprints of your life. Day by day, most people treat nighttime as a time to crash. And that's the problem. It becomes the dumping ground for whatever stress, exhaustion, and disorganization the day brought. Instead of winding down with intention, they let the evening collapse on top of them. They scroll mindlessly, they watch until they fall asleep, they drift without anchoring themselves, and then they wonder why they wake up foggy, reactive, unmotivated. The answer is simple. You can't plant nothing in the soil of your evening and expect to harvest clarity in the morning. The quality of your morning doesn't start with your alarm, it starts with your decisions the night before. Think about what happens when you don't plan your day in advance. You wake up already behind. You wake up unsure. And that small uncertainty snowballs. You check your phone because you don't have a clear first task. You scroll social media because your mind is looking for stimulus. You delay your morning routine because you didn't prioritize it the night before. And suddenly it's 10 a.m. and your mind is cluttered, your emotions are scattered, and your energy has already been spent on things that don't matter. Now picture the opposite. Imagine finishing your day with 10 minutes of quiet reflection. You look at your calendar, you list 3 key tasks that will make tomorrow meaningful. You write down how you want to show up, not just what you want to do, but who you want to be. You lay out your clothes, clean your space, review your schedule, and prepare your mind for what's coming. When you do this, something powerful happens. You go to bed with intention, not just exhaustion. Your mind isn't circling unanswered questions. It's focused, settled, at peace. And that peace is what allows you to sleep deeply and wake up decisively. There's also a psychological shift that takes place when you end your day with order. You begin to see yourself as someone who's in control. You stop reacting and start directing. You begin to believe, in a very real way, that your time matters, that your life is moving forward. And when that belief takes root, you don't just go to bed earlier, you go to bed more aligned with your purpose. You don't just sleep better, you wake up more powerful. You're no longer a slave to the chaos of morning uncertainty. You become a creator of your own momentum. This doesn't require hours of work. It's not about building a perfect system. It's about a few deliberate habits repeated consistently. Ask yourself at the end of each day, what are the top 3 priorities for tomorrow? What unfinished thoughts or worries do I need to release before sleep? What's one small thing I can do right now to make tomorrow easier? These questions can reshape your mindset. They rewire your habits. They reclaim your mornings before they even begin. The world will not wait for you to get organized. Distractions will come, emergencies will come, people will demand your time and energy, and if you haven't prepared for it, you'll spend the entire day in defense mode, blocking, dodging, reacting, never building. But if you win the night before, you enter the day already grounded. You know what matters, you know where to focus. You're not wondering what to do, you're executing what you already decided. And that's where power lives, not in random bursts of productivity, but in the quiet decisions made the night before. Because the world doesn't belong to those who are busy, it belongs to those who are prepared. Preparation gives birth to confidence. Confidence fuels execution. execution creates results. And it all starts not with the sun, but with your final hour before bed. The alarm clock is more than just a sound. It's a test, a small test, yes, but one that holds massive meaning, because when that alarm rings in the dark before the world has stirred, you are being asked a simple question. Are you in control today, or are you going to let comfort win? And make no mistake, how you answer that question sets the tone for the rest of your day. That 5-second window between hearing the alarm and choosing to rise is not about sleep. It's about self-respect. It's about training your mind to listen to your purpose instead of your excuses. Discipline is not something we turn on in the middle of the afternoon when we feel good and the coffee's kicked in. It's forged in those early moments when no one is watching, when the bed is warm and your dreams are still calling you back under the covers. People love to talk about big wins, the promotion, the business success, the weight lost, but they often overlook the thousands of small, invisible victories that made those moments possible. Waking up when you said you would, that is a victory. It's proof that your word means something. And when you start your day by keeping a promise to yourself, no matter how small, you build momentum, you build identity. You begin to believe, even subconsciously, that you're the kind of person who follows through. Discipline doesn't care how you feel. And that's the beauty of it, because feelings are fleeting, motivation fades, excitement disappears, but discipline remains. It's the foundation you build your life on when the weather of emotion gets rough, when you don't feel like doing the work, when no one's clapping for you, when quitting would be easier. Discipline is the voice that says, I'll do it anyway. Now, some people resist discipline because they associate it with restriction. But that's a short-sighted view. Discipline isn't about punishment. It's about freedom. When you are disciplined, you are free from regret, free from the chaos of disorganization, free from the emotional weight of knowing you're not living up to your own potential. Discipline gives you options. It buys you time. It creates energy, because when you've mastered the beginning of your day, the rest of the day feels easier. You're not playing catch-up. You're leading from the front. The world won't stop you from pressing snooze. It won't drag you out of bed and push you toward your purpose. That's your job. And the sooner you accept that responsibility, the sooner you take back control of your time, your mindset, and your life. Nobody else is going to do it for you. Nobody else is going to hand you your future. But you can earn it. And it starts with one disciplined choice at a time. There's a certain pride that comes from doing the hard thing first, from proving to yourself right at the start of the day that you don't need to negotiate with laziness or delay. The discipline to wake up, to move your body, to begin your day with structure, it creates a ripple effect. It makes the second decision easier. Then the third. You stack those wins, and before long you look back and realize that your entire day has been shaped by the strength of your morning. You don't need perfection. You don't need to be robotic. What you need is consistency, a pattern of self-leadership that builds trust in yourself, and every morning you get a new opportunity to build that pattern. You can't always control how the rest of the day unfolds, but this you can control. Your discipline, your decision, your first victory. It's not about proving something to the world. It's about proving something to yourself, that you are capable, consistent, and worthy of the life you're building. If you don't tell the day where to go, it will take you somewhere you never meant to be. That's the truth most people overlook. They roll out of bed, grab their phone, scroll through the lives of other people, react to notifications, respond to emails, and start moving through their day, not with direction, but with drift. And by the time the day is halfway through, they wonder why they feel overwhelmed, why nothing important is done, and why their energy is depleted without anything to show for it. The answer is simple. They didn't design the day. They let it happen to them. Success is not the product of chance. It's the product of intentional choices made in advance. You can either live on offense or live on defense. There's no middle ground. When you drift, you spend the day reacting to messages, to problems, to other people's demands. But when you design your day, you lead it. You control the narrative. You decide what gets your time, your focus, your attention. And in the world that profits from your distraction, that kind of self-leadership is rare and powerful. Designing your day doesn't mean micromanaging every minute. It means deciding what matters most and giving it a name, a time, and a place. It means identifying your top priorities, not 10 things, not a scattered list, but the few essential actions that will move your life forward. And when you begin your morning with that kind of clarity, something amazing happens. You stop wasting energy on indecision, because indecision is a silent thief. It doesn't make a sound, but it drains you all the same. Every time you ask yourself, what should I do next, without an answer, you waste valuable mental bandwidth. But if you've already decided the top 3 things that matter, your energy is preserved. Your willpower is protected. You move with confidence because you already know what needs to be done. Think about the most successful people you know, not just financially, but emotionally, physically, spiritually. They don't wake up wondering what to do. They have a rhythm, a routine, a structure that supports their vision. They wake up with direction, and direction gives birth to momentum. You can't afford to start your day aimlessly. Aimlessness invites distraction. And in today's world, distraction is everywhere. Notifications, opinions, emergencies that aren't yours, tasks that don't belong to you, all of these things creep in when there is no structure in place to guard against them. But when your day is designed with purpose, distractions lose their power. They can knock, but they don't get in. There is freedom in structure. That might sound contradictory, but it's true. When your day is designed, you are not trapped. You are liberated. You don't waste time wandering through tasks or procrastinating out of uncertainty. You don't live in reaction mode. You execute, you move, you finish. And this doesn't require a complicated system. You don't need expensive planners or elaborate scheduling tools. What you need is honesty and a few minutes of focused planning. Ask yourself, what are the 3 most important outcomes I need to accomplish today? What blocks of time can I dedicate to them? Where are my weak spots, those tempting pockets where I tend to waste time? And how can I protect myself from them? Just that simple act of writing down your intentions transforms how you experience the day. It gives your hours meaning, it gives your actions weight, it gives your choices clarity. And when you know what matters, it's easier to say no to what doesn't. The day is going to pass whether you plan it or not. Time doesn't ask for permission, but results, real, meaningful results, come only to those who prepare. Design is not just about tasks, it's about ownership. It's the difference between wandering through life and building a life that reflects your deepest values and highest standards. The first hour of your day is sacred. It's not just another 60 minutes. It's the foundation upon which everything else stands. What you do with that first hour will shape your energy, your mindset, and your trajectory for the next 23. And yet, most people give it away like it costs nothing. They spend it rushing, scrolling, complaining, reacting. They wake up and hand the steering wheel of their life to the world without even realizing it. But here's the truth. The first hour belongs to you, or it belongs to your distractions. There is no in-between. If you don't guard it, someone else will use it, and they'll use it for their agenda, not yours. The people who win consistently, those who live intentionally and produce results that matter, they treat that first hour like gold. They protect it, they defend it, because they know that in that early window, before the world comes knocking, before obligations and interruptions begin, lies an opportunity. The chance to center yourself, fuel your body, focus your mind, and direct your day. That hour is not a luxury, it's a weapon. What happens when you spend your first hour reacting? You pick up your phone, read bad news, get pulled into someone's drama, see a message that triggers anxiety, and just like that, your peace is gone. You didn't give it away consciously, you leaked it. And now your thoughts are scattered, your focus is hijacked, and you haven't even had breakfast. But when you claim that first hour for yourself, something powerful shifts. You're no longer a prisoner of your phone. You become the leader of your life. You wake up, you breathe, you move your body, you drink water, you write, you reflect. You take charge. That hour becomes a ritual, not a routine. It becomes sacred space where clarity is born and chaos is denied entry. Doesn't matter whether you're an entrepreneur, a student, a parent, or an employee, every life benefits from a protected first hour. You don't need to wake up at 4 a.m. or meditate in the Himalayas. What you need is to make a decision that your first hour is not for the world, it's for you. It's for your goals, your values, your discipline. Because if you can win the first hour, you can win the next. And if you can win enough hours, you win the day. This is where momentum is created, not in grand declarations, but in quiet victories, in choosing a journal over a news feed, in choosing 10 deep breaths over 10 Instagram stories, in fueling your body with intention instead of grabbing whatever's convenient. That's the kind of decision-making that builds confidence, not just in your day, but in who you are becoming. And here's something else. When you protect your first hour, people notice. Your energy changes. Your presence sharpens. You're not dragged into drama because you're already anchored in peace. You don't need to chase motivation all day because you've already stirred purpose before the sun even climbed the sky. But let's be honest, guarding that hour isn't always easy. It requires boundaries. It requires saying no. It requires putting your phone on silent, waking up before the noise, and acting with intention instead of impulse. And it won't always feel glamorous, but you're not building your life for the applause, you're building it for impact. And impact starts with order. It starts with discipline. It starts with how you greet your day. Because how you start matters, not just in your schedule, but in your spirit. When the first hour is yours, the rest of the day obeys, not because everything goes perfectly, but because you've already established who's in charge. And that kind of control doesn't come from chance, it comes from choice. Every day, your mind is the command center of your life. What enters it shapes it, what shapes it guides it, and what guides it ultimately determines the results you create in every area of your life. That's why the first voice your mind hears in the morning matters. That first input, it sets the temperature, it sets the tone. It creates the filter through which every challenge, every conversation, and every opportunity will be interpreted. If you don't feed your mind intentionally, the world will feed it for you, and the world is not serving you a nourishing breakfast. It's serving you fear, outrage, distraction, and doubt. The headlines are not designed to uplift you. The first few scrolls on social media are not designed to fuel your dreams. And those casual conversations with people who are just drifting through life, they won't give you the clarity, conviction, or courage to rise to your potential. So the question is simple. What are you allowing into your mind before your mind has even fully woken up? If the first thing you consume is noise, don't be surprised when your thoughts feel chaotic. If the first message you receive is negativity, don't be shocked when anxiety follows you through the day. The mind is fertile soil. It will grow whatever is planted in it. You can't plant weeds and expect roses. You can't absorb doubt and expect to walk in confidence. And yet most people give their mornings away to randomness. They check the weather, the news, the stock market, a friend's story, a stranger's post, a random tweet. None of these things build a strong inner life. None of them build a fortress of mindset. And without a strong mindset, every small inconvenience becomes a crisis, and every setback becomes an excuse to retreat. But imagine starting your day differently. Imagine opening a book filled with wisdom instead of your phone. Imagine listening to a voice that reminds you who you are instead of one that tells you what to fear. Imagine filling your mind with truth, principles, and vision before the world has the chance to pollute it with noise. That's not a luxury. That's survival for anyone serious about growth. Feeding your mind is not about information, it's about transformation. It's not about knowing more, it's about becoming more. Every quote you read, every idea you reflect on, every powerful message you allow into your spirit, it's like armor. It's preparation. It's stacking strength inside of you before the day demands it. And here's what happens when you do this consistently. Your confidence grows, your clarity sharpens, your decisions improve. Why? Because you've trained your mind to recognize what matters. You've given it a standard. You've made it harder for fear to take root and easier for faith to speak louder. The mind is always listening, and the voice it hears most often becomes its master. Make sure that voice is your own, and make sure it's speaking life, not limitation. One of the most powerful habits you can build is a morning routine where you speak to your mind before anyone else does. Read something that elevates your thinking. Listen to a message that calls you higher. Review your goals. Visualize your success. Do something, anything, that strengthens your mental foundation before the world comes knocking with its chaos. This isn't about being positive for the sake of being positive. This is about protecting the gates of your focus. You can't lead your day if your mind is filled with noise. You can't make decisions from a place of clarity if your input is polluted. What you consume, you become. And what you become touches everything: your health, your work, your relationships, your future. Every day you are presented with a decision that will define not just how that day unfolds, but what kind of person you are becoming. That decision is this: will you live by your mood, or will you live by your discipline? Moods are unstable. They rise and fall with the weather, with sleep, with other people's words, with fear, with doubt. Moods are unpredictable, unreliable, and often untrustworthy. And if you let your life be guided by them, you'll become inconsistent. You'll only work hard when you feel like it. You'll only speak with kindness when you're in the mood. You'll only pursue your goals when the wind is blowing in your favor. But discipline, that's different. Discipline doesn't care about how you feel. It's rooted in commitment, not convenience. It shows up when it's cold, when it's uncomfortable, when it's inconvenient. It stands firm when feelings waver. It's the part of you that says, I made a promise and I intend to keep it, whether I feel like it or not. And that's the power you unlock when you choose discipline. You begin to lead yourself. You begin to rise above your emotions instead of being ruled by them. And the moment you understand that your feelings are not commands, you gain freedom. Just because you feel tired doesn't mean you can't act. Just because you feel discouraged doesn't mean you stop. You acknowledge the emotion, but you don't obey it. You know what's funny? On the days when motivation is low and energy is thin and you still show up, you build self-respect. Quietly, powerfully, you show yourself that you are not a slave to your impulses. You prove to yourself that you're not a puppet on the strings of mood swings. And every time you do that, you grow. You expand your capacity. You move one step closer to becoming the person you were meant to be. Discipline is not punishment, it's protection. It protects your goals from being hijacked by momentary emotions. It protects your vision from being sabotaged by a bad morning. It protects your future from being stolen by excuses that feel real but aren't. Because that's what most excuses are, feelings dressed up as logic. And if you fall for them too often, you'll look back in 10 years wondering where the time went. You know what discipline really is? It's love. It's self-respect. It's the voice inside you that says, I'm not going to betray myself today. I'm not going to abandon my goals just because I woke up in a funk. I'm not going to make decisions that my future self will have to apologize for. That's not harsh. That's strength. And it's rare, because the truth is anyone can be disciplined when they feel good. That's easy. That doesn't count. But the ones who rise the ones who build lives of impact, of excellence, of real fulfillment, they've learned to act regardless of how they feel. They don't wait for the stars to align or for motivation to hit. They build habits that carry them when inspiration fades. They show up tired, they show up uncertain, they show up scared. But they still show up. That's what separates ordinary from extraordinary. Not talent, not luck, not privilege, discipline, the quiet, invisible, daily choice to do what matters even when you don't feel like it, especially when you don't feel like it. And here's the irony: when you act with discipline, the feelings follow. You might start off low, dragging, uninspired, but action creates emotion. Movement breeds momentum. And suddenly, halfway through the task you didn't want to start, you feel alive. You feel powerful, not because the task changed, but because you did. Success doesn't start in the morning, it starts the night before. What you do tonight determines how you show up tomorrow. It's not about luck. It's not about magic. It's about preparation. Winning the day isn't just about hustle, it's about foresight. Because when you lay the bricks the night before, you don't wake up to chaos, you wake up to clarity. And clarity is power. Most people stumble into their mornings. They don't rise, they react. Their alarm goes off and they're already behind. They can't find their keys, their thoughts are scrambled, their energy is scattered. Why? Because they left tomorrow's success in the hands of chance. They didn't prepare, they didn't decide in advance, and so they become victims of their own disorganization. But not you. You're here to rise above that. You're here to live with intention. You're here to win before the battle even begins. And that starts with owning the night. Because how you close your day matters just as much as how you begin it. Winning tomorrow tonight means putting systems in place that serve your future self. It means asking, what can I do right now before I sleep that will make my tomorrow smoother, lighter, more focused? It could be as simple as laying out your clothes, preparing your meals, reviewing your goals, writing down your top priorities, cleaning your space, planning your morning, shutting off screens an hour early so your brain can rest. Small actions, big ripple effect. It's not about perfection, it's about intentionality. It's about turning off autopilot and stepping into ownership. Because nothing sabotages a powerful morning faster than a careless night. You can't stay up late flooding your brain with junk and expect to wake up sharp and driven. You can't ignore your plans and expect progress to magically appear. Success doesn't reward hope. It rewards habits. Think about a pilot preparing for takeoff. There's a checklist. There's a system. There's no guesswork because lives are on the line. Now think about your life, your goals, your vision. Isn't that worth the same kind of care? Isn't that worth a few minutes of planning before bed? Isn't that worth treating your future like it matters? And here's the beautiful truth. When you end your day with purpose, you sleep better. Your mind quiets because you've given it structure. You're not lying awake swimming in mental to-do lists. You've already emptied your thoughts onto paper. You've already chosen your targets. You've already created order. And order creates peace. And peace, that's a superpower because it allows you to rest deeply. And deep rest isn't a luxury, it's fuel, the kind of fuel that lets you rise early, move with intention, and hit the ground running, not stumbling. Some people think preparation is boring, that it's rigid, that it takes the fun out of life, but ask any high performer, any leader, any person who consistently achieves real meaningful results, and they'll tell you the opposite. Preparation creates freedom. Because when you prepare, you buy yourself time, you buy yourself focus, you buy yourself confidence. And nothing feels better than waking up knowing you've already made the hard decision. You don't have to scramble to figure out what matters. You already know. You don't have to waste energy on small, repetitive choices. You already made them. And that's what gives you an edge. That's what builds consistency. Not grand gestures, just quiet, deliberate ownership of your time. So before you end the night, ask yourself, did I give my tomorrow a head start? Did I invest in the version of me that's going to wake up in just a few hours? Or did I leave that person to fend for themselves? Because the winners, the real winners, they win long before the sun rises. They win when no one is watching. They win in the quiet moments, in the small choices, in the planning, in the preparation, in the unseen. That's where success is born. So let me ask you again, who wins the day? Is it the person who wakes up late, drifts through their morning, reacts to life, and hopes something good will happen? Or is it the person who takes ownership before the sun even rises? The one who understands that success doesn't begin at 9 a.m. It begins in the mind, in the routine, in the decision to prepare, plan, and protect their purpose. You don't have to be perfect. You don't need to control everything. But you must control something. You must control your intention. You must control your habits. You must control the small, quiet choices that compound into massive outcomes. In the day before it starts, by winning the night before, by deciding what matters before the world tries to distract you, by feeding your mind before the world poisons it, by moving with discipline instead of mood, by putting first things first. Before the noise, before the pressure, before the world starts pulling at you from every direction. Success is not a mystery, it's not a miracle, it's a method. And that method is simple. Plan your day on purpose. Prepare your mind with power, protect your time like it's sacred, and pursue your vision with quiet, consistent action. You don't rise to the level of your dreams, you rise or fall to the level of your standards. And the standard must be this: I own my morning, I own my time, I own my mindset, I own my results. If you want a different life, start by living differently before the day even begins. Because when you win the day before it starts, you don't just become productive, you become unstoppable.